Hey everybody, how's it going? I am coming to you from my garage with my 2013 Suzuki V-strom 650, and I wanted to make a short little video detailing some of my inexpensive and or handmade mods. Now, motorcycling is not necessarily an inexpensive hobby, and I've certainly spent my fair share of my hard-earned paycheck on pricey and otherwise not so budget-friendly modifications, and that goes for other motorcycle that I've got too. So multiply that by 2. Again, not a cheap hobby. So it's nice to have a few things on my bike that didn't cost me a whole lot of money, because either I've repurposed items that were meant for something else, or I made my own things. And so I wanted to just kind of go over a few of those things that I've done to this bike, which some of this stuff can be applied to the earlier first generation V-strom 650, but I'm going to focus primarily on the current 2012 to 2015 650 V-strom. So starting kind of at the front and top, I've got the Suzuki OEM plastic handguards. Now there's nothing that fancy about these. They're just molded plastic, nothing really structural, because there's no metal framing like what you get with bark busters and the like. And that's okay. I just wanted them for some additional wind protection, as well as to help guard from flying debris, bugs, rocks, whatever, from hitting my hands going down the road. One thing I've found during colder months is that without heated grips, which is something I do want to add to this bike eventually, my thumbs in particular, just because that's what's hanging down the lowest underneath the grip, tends to get pretty cold, and longer rides, colder days, can go pretty numb. And so this is something that I thought about making when I had my 2006 V-strom, just never got around to it, and decided to make a set for this bike. Now you'll see that I've got some holes that are drilled in the handguards around the perimeter of the bottom, and that's where I've mounted these little plastic extensions. Now come over here to my fancy little table here, and you'll see what I've got. And this is basically just a Rubbermaid trash can that I've cut sections out of, and used one of these Harbor Freight heat guns to kind of mold and bend the plastic, and that way it fits nicely. And get this little flip kick down that helps deflect the air away from my thumb, because again, that's what gets the coldest. And then just some stainless steel hardware at Home Depot that I picked up to mount everything, and more or less just made a paper template like that. This is actually not the template for this particular handguard. I made that template for the earlier model V-stroms that my dad still has, so he could have a set of them too. But anyway, so come over here and I'll show you what it looks like mounted up. And pretty clean installation, doesn't look too bad. I mean, you get the hardware that's in there, and I'm trying to get this light that doesn't work real well to show you all what it looks like down there, but hopefully you can get an idea just from that. I'll go down underneath so you can see what it looks like. So anyway, that is that. Next thing I've got in the area of wind management on this bike are these little wind deflectors. And this is something more specific to the newer V-stroms, which all of them have had complaints among owners about wind buffeting in general, and a lot of people mostly replace windshields, add those MadStat adjustable brackets, and some people, I'm one of them who've tried this out, changing different mirrors, because the stock mirrors, some people believe, cause wind buffeting too, because they're basically just a big flat square piece. But anyway, this particular bike, you can kind of see this little channel right here. What that does, I've found, is the wind comes around, travels across the top here, and as it comes around from both sides, it ends up bending up along your torso and then buffeting your helmet from below. So I copied this design from somebody on the V-strom forum who is making them, and basically just deflects the air further around the bike to avoid that situation altogether. Just moves it out and around you, and it actually does work. This is just an inexpensive sheet of Lexan that I bought at Home Depot for a few bucks. Kind of cut out sort of, you can see, kind of a, I don't know, triangular-ish shape. And, you know, I didn't do a real good job of really getting everything nice and smooth. You can see the uneven edges, but I don't really care because it's a functional thing. And then the hardware that I use to mount it is just a longer stainless steel bolt and spacers to help kind of keep it up off of there. And then these are the little door molding guards that you put on the edge of your car doors to keep it from, you know, nicking the edge. You can get it at auto parts store. So I just put clear ones on there. And yeah, they work pretty well. Moving down below. Now honestly, I don't know if this is something that would apply to the first gen V-stroms with ABS, but one of the things that I found for sale online from a company called Touratech are these ABS sensor guards. And, you know, it's something that a flying rock could certainly hit that and damage that ABS sensor, which I'm sure is not inexpensive to replace. I just didn't want to pay $50 or whatever it was for a set of those little, you know, simple guards. So I decided to make my own out of some aluminum angle iron that I bought at Home Depot. And let me just show you this stuff right here. Give you a cross section so you can kind of see what it looks like. So anyway, just cut some little short pieces off of it, and you can see how I, you know, sort of shaped it. Basically did all this with a Dremel tool. And then the hardware that I'm using to mount that, because you've got to have a spacer to mount this away from the sensor. The spacer that I found that actually works perfectly are some of the factory windshield spacers. And the reason why I had those extra was because I just had played around with adjusting the angle of my windscreen. Part of that was to give me some extra clearance with these handguards, and then the aftermarket handlebars, which sit forward a little bit more because they don't sweep back as much. But anyway, had the extra spacers, and then the bolts, interestingly enough, are some of the factory bolts that hold on the little subframe engine mount right here that I had left over from when I installed these crash bars. So you can certainly just find some replacement hardware, probably at either Home Depot or a bolt shop, anything like that. So that might add a little bit extra cost, but again, this was, you know, probably $5 or $6 for that piece of angle iron and a little bit of my time. So I love those cheap mods like that. Last thing I'm going to show you, and this is very common on both the current and first gen V-stroms, are the plastic tool tubes. These are actually owner's manual canisters that are designed for like tractors and stuff like that, and you'll find them at places like Tractor Supply. I bought these online at a place called Agri Supply, and they're just a few dollars a piece. And then I mount them here with the GB side racks, and use some stainless steel hardware along with these little metal band clamps. So works quite well. I use the top one that's bigger for carrying my chain lube and a rag. Bottom one I haven't really used a whole lot, but that'd be great for like tire levers because it's just the right diameter to throw some of those in there along with maybe a flat repair kit, something like that. And so only thing I'd caution you about if you're going to mount one lower like this, and that's one of the reasons why I went with a smaller one, because it tucks in more to the outside of the bike. Because if you look kind of from this angle, you may have some issues with swing arm clearance. If you move through the travel all the way, you wouldn't want that swing arm hitting that tool tube. So this one seems, excuse me, seems to be okay, but just a cautionary word so you're aware of that particular issue. So anyway, that is it. I've got some other plans to do some things like a radiator guard. I don't want to spend $80, $90 on the RNG Radiator Guard, and there's some folks that have been making them out of like those little stationary letter trays like you can get at Target or Office Depot, somewhere like that. So need to go look for one of those that would work well for me there and mess around with that. So anyway, I'll update my YouTube channel with additional cheap mods once I get those done. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.